be silent!
Oh boy, we left it up there. All right.
I thought you were taking it down. Here you go.
Well, somebody had to do it, I guess. Anyway, welcome to the Orville Rewatch podcast. That's, of course, we are going to be covering Orville Season 3, Episode 5, The Tale of Two Topas. I like saying Topas. Anybody else?
Especially that way.
Topas!
Topas!
Topas! See, you do it too. Really good. Come on, let's hear one, Kevin. Sigh. All right. Well, forget it then. We're not going to bother. But anyway, yes, as I said, we are going to be covering Orville Season 3, Episode 5, The Tale of Two Topas. And I couldn't do this without anybody else than these guys, because these guys are important. And not only that, there's a guy that just showed up that I haven't seen in a while. So
I'm here.
That was good too. Oh, I didn't know.
Good segue.
Thank you. So I guess we might as well introduce him first. So the man, the mystery, and of course the traveler himself. That is, of course, Adam Woodward.
Hey guys, glad to be back. It was a long couple of weeks, and but
you were in a pretty cold climate too, from what I remember.
Yep. Yep.
Lovely. Well, what can you do there? But of course, we have the man who I'm no longer going to be referencing as the mustache extraordinaire. That, of course, is the man. That guy right there. That guy.
We call him the man.
We call him the man.
All right.
That's what I'm gonna. You know what? That's what I'm gonna introduce you as. Of course, it's Kevin Millard. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, Jody. Hello.
I want to topa from you before we're done. See, you know what? The man who could do a topa that is better than mine, of course, that is the producer extraordinaire. That is Dave Mater.
Yes, Jody. I'm here to talk about the topas. All the topas.
Two of
Topa.
All right. Anyway, as I said, and I'm not going to repeat it for a third time, but how did you guys feel about the Tale of Two Topas? Kevin, let's hear from you first.
It's good. I like it. It's an emotional one. It's good. I like the subject is they do this well. The only part I don't like about this episode is how they resolve this problem by having Isaac do the surgery. That's a little too cute by half. I am not. Come on, you can write better. You have written better.
Well, I can kind of understand the whole point of him being part of it, though, because when you look at the Kalon part of it, it kind of makes sense because, the Mocklins would be pissed off that they did it, so it's another drive for them to stay in the Union, right? So I kind of get it.
Sure, but it's still on a Union ship. But
yeah, and I do like the tongue lashing that they get from the Admiral in the episode.
Clyde and Importans. This is peak relationship.
I hate Clyde
Importans
to begin with, so I'm kind of glad.
Yeah,
see this happen. So for me, it's great. But anyway, Dave, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a tearjerker. It's an emotional episode. Some of the deepest acting. It's got not a ton of jokes in it. Even season 3 in general has been pretty light on the jokes, but
it's definitely a less jokey, yeah,
episode overall, which I'm not complaining about. It feels a little bit more weighted than most Orville episodes. I think that it's a really great episode. It stands. I think that this arc that they've done with this whole Mocklin thing has been really strong. Something different that hasn't quite been done this way in Star Trek. So we got to commend them for it.
Yeah, for sure. Adam, you've been gone for a while. Nice to see you.
Thank you. I caught up. I've got ratings for you for the other two.
Okay, well, we'll get those at the end.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about this episode?
As you guys said, this is an intense episode. We're all parents here, and we've all probably had moments that cause so much stress around the kids and things over the years, and you worry, and whether
I call it daily.
Yeah.
Just the day to day.
Just a day to day.
Well, but it's true though, and
Gray hair, Adam. Obviously,
you're absolutely right. I thought I struggle with like this is such a departure from Next Gen, for instance. I think that we would just accept it. That's the way they are, and because that's their culture and blah blah blah. But clearly, you can't. There's lines that the humans in the Orville world will not lay down to.
And as for, and this is kind of a question for all of you, do you feel that this serves the overall story arc? Like, because the last episode that we got to see obviously the transformation of Topa, and then we got the aftermath of how people felt, and then obviously we had an episode in between. But does this end that particular arc nicely? Do you feel that this was kind of the redemption, I guess, of that episode? Or because I know that episode kind of hits people a little hard sometimes. So the original episode with the baby.
I don't know how well you remember the rest of the season, but there's going to be another installment of this particular arc.
Okay.
Yeah, there is one more.
So this is well, particularly for Clyden, this is a particularly low moment. And it's hard to find anything redeeming in Clyden. No. It's impossible.
Well,
actually.
Clyden supports his values, right? Like, and I get that, but he's also a complete dick.
He just comes across as like a complete bigot and
well, that's because he is.
And then to look at your child and say, "I wish you'd never been born." Like,
yeah,
Jesus
like
Christ.
at that point, like,
there are people that have had that all their lives. I mean, when they're
yes,
and they come out of the closet or whatever happens, and
absolutely,
mom and dad turn their backs on them, and that's the worst thing that can happen.
Yeah.
All right. Well, shall we get into it, gentlemen?
All right. Yeah.
All right. Let's see if I can remember some names today. Maybe.
Well, we'll keep track here for you.
Dave, we should have a counter. How many times does Jody screw this up?
Yes, Sam. We do know this is the 30th year of Voyager. Adam and I are going to be with a lot of the Voyager cast in about 3 weeks. So
they're going to be mingling.
2.5.
Or at least.
I had to pick the member of the Voyager crew that I wanted to get the picture with, and guess who I settled on?
Who?
Robert Duncan McNeil.
Solid choice.
Tom
are you going to bring a plate for him to sign?
Maybe. We'll always have Tom Paris. So
you'll always have Tom Paris. Absolutely. Anyway, we start off on this planet. I didn't catch the name, and I'm not going to bother caring anyway.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Anyway, it's this ancient civilization that they're currently looking into. They've got what appears to be kind of a pyramid or of sorts, some sort of structure that they're going to be going through. And this is kind of the little Indiana Jones type part of the episode, I guess, where we see they're basically documenting all the chambers within this structure. And we're told that this structure is full of booby traps because... that's how they protect their treasure, I guess. But anyway, we get basically Charlie takes them in, Mercer and Kelly, and she kind of goes through, and they finally get to the last kind of corridor, and this is where it's kind of explained that there could be something behind this, but there are also lots of traps around here. So how are we going to deal with this? And Isaac says, "I'm going to deal with it. Everybody can back off." So everybody backs off. He tells them all to go on the other side. And that's when he pushes in this little thing. And it's hard to capture, but a lot of, I guess they were knives of some sort of arrow kind of things.
Yeah.
You didn't really need a Kalon here, just a stick.
You could also
stick.
A long stick would have worked.
Somebody in an environmental suit, probably too.
Maybe an environmental suit might help. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, but no.
This is very Raiders of the Lost Ark first one.
They're not offering the whole cast as a group photo.
And when they get into the treasure room, I'm like, oh, this is national treasure now.
Yeah. But and I was thinking, like, what about what's his name, the jelly guy?
Yaphet.
Yeah.
Yaphet. Yeah. What about Yaphet? Yaphet could have did this, no problem.
So what was funny about this is this happened, and all the darts are flying around, and he gets one in the head. and then they all walk in, and then the next door opens, and then Kelly and Ed lead the way.
Yeah, they're like, okay, everything's safe now.
I
Yeah,
guess those are the only booby traps.
We can
Exactly
see the
what-
gold, so we're good.
One of my favorite things is he states it is now safe, and then gets hit with that fucking one in the side of the head.
Yeah, the timing was fantastic on that. And just and also him pulling it out. He pulls it out, and looks at it like I'm
it was
surprised
deep
this
in
looks
there.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how that works with his armor. But anyway, huge room full of treasures and trinkets and whatnot, as well as obviously some archaeological items as well. And at that point, we get to see back on the Orville. They brought some of these up. I did like this little nod here in the middle, Adam. I'm sure you picked up on that one. Very, very well done on the alien face hugger thing going on there. I thought that was pretty good. Yeah, and then there's stuff that kind of resembles things from various sci-fi things. I like the boots. I think the boots are pretty good.
Well, don't those things next to that guy in the wait, go back, Jody. Look like Batman's arms, like his arms.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
they do.
they got the little like things that like were on his like.
In fact, they look so much like that I feel like this is just a Batman gauntlet that's been resprayed.
Could
Is what
be.
will come up in fun facts, but we'll have to find out.
Oh well, I don't know. We don't know until Adam tells us what the.
I'm predicting that.
Oh, you're predicting that. Someone might have been reading, but anyway.
No.
Oh, okay. You just know that off the top of your head. All right.
I just think it's a theory. And
Oh,
I
it's
think
a theory. Okay.
it's a theory.
Anyway, we end up in this battle. Turns out to be a battle simulation with the Kalon, and Topa's in charge, and he's learning how to, I guess, command a ship and get attacked and die essentially, because that's literally what happens. Now they make a reference that later on, he can only last, I think, 7 minutes or something like that is the total amount.
Yeah.
Which the scene feels like it was running a little bit longer than 7 minutes, but it wasn't. But then we get this vessel destroyed thing, and then at this point, Topa gets up and is kind of angry, and ends up putting his hand through one of the consoles, which I guess because it's a hologram, he can feel it, but I don't know why
No
the glass
permanent damage.
Well, they show like glass in his hands, but it's don't really mention anything about it. And then we see that Kelly has actually already reserved this room, and Topa has gone over, and he explains, I was doing the simulator. She's like, oh, how'd you do? And he's like, I can only go about 7 minutes, and she's like, that's pretty impressive for somebody who doesn't really have any training experience for that. So that's pretty good. And then Topa basically comes down to the line of, I kind of want to follow in your footsteps. I want to go to the academy or whatever they call it, and go there. And this seems to be something that Kelly's very interested in. She wants to be a mentor. So there we go. And we get her title
And
card.
Topa's very into Kelly as well. Like, very looks up to Kelly quite a bit.
Yeah. Which, kind of makes sense at the end of the episode more. But
And Kelly looking pretty smoking hot in this workout outfit, I gotta tell you. But,
you know what? I wasn't going to mention that, but yeah. She definitely fills it out correctly. All right. Anyway, we'll move on. Tale of Two Topas is our title card. And this is where we see Topa is in Kelly's office, and has explained that he wants to be part of the command training. And she's pleased as beans about that. She's like, well, why don't you shadow me? We'll go walk around a bit. We'll see how this goes. Walked into this guy, which I thought was pretty cool.
I love the random aliens. You don't get enough of that in Star Trek.
right.
Yeah, well, because it's also
Not like this. Not like these kind of really.
not
out
as
there.
much. No, they're almost just always in a rubber mask and call it a day kind of thing. Where these guys are, green screen and CGI.
But when they're
on some of them,
when they're walking down the hallways on the Enterprise, it's always humans.
yeah,
It's almost
Once in a
never
while, you'll
anything other
see-
than humans.
yeah, you'll
Yeah.
see,
If
one
you see a
Klingon.
Vulcan, you're seeing that's like, oh, look, a Vulcan. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, whoa, that guy's
Wonder what that dick's doing there.
Right.
exactly.
Deep Space Nine did more of that, like with
Yeah,
the-
for sure.
more than any of the other shows. But yeah,
But that also makes more sense with DS9, seeing as how what it was, so it kind of makes sense. And then we get introduced to this character who I didn't care to catch his name, don't care anyway, but he's an armory officer. And he's having a bit of an HR issue. And the HR issue is this naked ass alien, who we find out later on the first of the month, he is not allowed to wear clothes according to his religion.
celebration of the something god or something.
Yeah. Now I have to admit, makeup fantastic on this guy as well. Didn't care to see as much as I did of him, but solid anyway. And she basically says, we got to come to some sort of arrangement here. We got to respect both cultures, and this is kind of showing us, Kelly tries to respect everybody, and
but he does make a point here that there's that. He must be referring to the guy who made the porn for Bortus. Remember that big,
Yes.
like crazy looking
Yeah.
guy?
Yeah, I think
And
that
he,
is. Yeah.
he doesn't wear a uniform, and she's like, well, he's the size of a house. How could he wear?
He would have to
a
wear a
uniform?
tent.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, Yaphet would also be the other one you could bring up because Yaphet doesn't have to wear a uniform.
Well, Yaphet technically doesn't have a uniform because Yaphet isn't in a form. So
true.
I guess
but-
they could have
be.
like
He wore
yeah,
the
it can
environmental
be.
suit.
he did
did
wear
wear
the
the-
environmental suit.
So
yep.
there would be a way to make it happen, but they
True.
they do make an exception in his case as well.
And she comes to the conclusion of, hey, why don't you just put some pants on and we'll call it a day? And he's like, okay. And that's
I
kinda
kind
the
of
end
feel
it.
like if it's one day a month, you just live with it.
or you know
It's
what?
like-
You give him the first day of the month off.
Take the day off.
You
Yeah,
know what?
take
the
the day,
day
off.
off, party it up, buddy.
Yeah.
Let's respect it. So anyway, and then we see engineering basically says, Lamar's like, I gotta get 15% more of the power or something to do some sort of testing or whatnot. Nothing really significant to the story, but we see Yaphet as well, and Yaphet is basically kissing ass. He's like, it's always a pleasure to see you, Kelly, and blah blah blah. And Kelly even makes a note of it. She's like, this is Topa. He's going to be going through the command thing. And this alien, who I don't know who he is, but I don't know if we've ever even seen him before.
Oh, we've seen
Oh
it
yeah.
before.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this is the guy that was subtitled in the other episode. Yeah, okay, you're right. But anyway, he's got some sort of cysts on his head. But anyway, we'll call that what it is. But anyway, he's like, what do you hope to major in? And I don't even remember what Topa's response was, nor does it really matter.
My other favorite thing, or it's just random, at the very beginning of the conversation where Kelly's like, hey, John, I got Topa shadowing me today. I hope you don't mind. And I was like, what is John going to do? Go, yes! How dare you,
Can't have
Commander?
Topa in here.
Get the hell out of engineering with that kid.
Yeah, I have no time to brief the first officer while some
What is he,
kid
Picard?
shadows them.
Yeah, get that child off my bridge.
Get that child off my engineering bridge. Yeah. But she also makes a snide comment to Topa, and she's like, that's
Well,
called ass kissing. And she walks away.
I think with Lamar too, her asking is more making Topa comfortable, right?
Oh,
Like
right.
introducing
Yeah.
Topa to everyone as
Makes sense.
Explaining why Topa's there.
Yeah.
Right.
And we get this cool little shot, which I think we ended up using for the thumbnail. But of the two of them in front of the whatever they call the warp core in this one.
The Dionysian sphere.
The fact that you know that is impressive.
It looks very cool. I did look that up a while ago.
That's awesome. Good for you. See, everybody here knows more than me. That's why I'm the host, I guess. But anyway, so she.
Just keep it moving for us.
I'm trying. But anyway, so they have a nice little chat where Kelly is trying to positive reinforcement and all that, and she's like, we got more stuff we can be doing and all that, and you're welcome to. And she's like, I look up to you, blah blah blah, or he's he at this point, and I believe he mentioned something along the lines of, I'm not sure if my father would approve or something like that. Or is that later on? I can't remember. Either way, doesn't really matter.
It might be here.
Yeah. So anyway, but this is where Topa also mentions that he doesn't feel comfortable in his body or something like that. Like he says,
He's
like
very unhappy.
He's very
feels
unhappy.
like something is wrong. Yeah.
Exactly. There you go. So anyway, Kelly and Claire and Mercer are having a chat about daily routine stuff, and this is when Kelly shows up and she's like, "Did you notice that Topa is kind of not cool, and I'm kind of worried about Topa. Maybe we should have a discussion with his parents." And Mercer's like, "Yeah, that's a great idea." And at that point, when he said that, I'm like, is he just trying to like get her and shit? Like, he knows Clyden's going to be a total ass. Like, Clyden's always the wild card, right? So it's like Bortus is pretty easy to figure out what he's going to do, but Clyden's an ass. But anyway, we see them, and the two of them are having dinner, and Topa isn't there yet, and Topa's running late. And this is when Kelly shows up. They invite her to sit down. She goes to, and you can see the personality conflict between the two, Clyden and Kelly. They don't like each other, very much so. It's very obvious, and even Bortus gives the looks, but he doesn't say anything at that point. But he even makes fun of her for not, possibly not knowing what the green stuff is on the plate. Like, he's just a total ass.
Clyden is very sexist, not just for his own kind, like his own.
Everybody. Yeah. All women should be dead, basically, according to him.
Because Clyden was born a woman, and Clyden's got this self-hatred complex.
Rejection. Yeah.
They've written him interesting because the first couple episodes in the first season and a half, I think we kind of enjoyed the comedic value of Clyden, right? Especially around the cigarettes but every now and then he appeared as this just nasty, bigoted, misogynist brute.
Yeah.
And now this episode just took that, they didn't just take it up, they took it way up, and man, you want him out now.
Oh yeah. Nobody loves this guy. As you're watching this episode, if you love this guy, you're a dick. It's that simple.
I feel pity for Clyden in some respects, but
the reason why Clyden acts this way is because he knows that he was born a girl, and he can't live with that. He doesn't like it. It's haunting him, and he's reflecting that on everybody else, basically. And he's a dick. So I'm just. But
he didn't choose what happened to him any more than Topa chose it, right?
No,
so
and the fact that later on it comes up that Topa could have a choice, he really doesn't like that because he was never given that, right? So it's I guess in reality he could.
Well, in theory he does, if he wanted to pursue it, just like Topa, but did not. Obviously, he's very locked into his identity and who he is, right?
But he's got a lot of self-hate going on for sure.
Oh yeah.
And when we, he just keeps letting in on Kelly, and finally he's like, you've overstayed your welcome, get out, basically. And the whole time Bortus is sitting there like, I'm not gonna, these two are firecrackers, let them deal with it, kind of thing. And she gets angry, and I have to give her credit. She's her acting, being angry, fantastic. She's
listen, this episode, she was great. I think this is
Bortus was great too.
Best
Bortus
acted
was fantastic
episode for her. Yeah, McCann was amazing to see it.
Yeah,
I think this is a new level for this show.
I think this new admiral was amazing.
Yeah,
she's dressing them down. I was like, wow.
Oh, and she's just giving them hell.
Yeah.
And I like at the end of the whole dressing down though, when she goes to leave and she's like, give my best wishes to
to the Mocklin girl. Yeah.
To the Mocklin girl. Yeah.
The other thing too here in this scene, it was one of the only jokes, I guess, was the when she starts to eat the green stuff. And she, on the hope coming off of that, what's that other thing where Ed is like, well, this delicate, it was on the Krill planet, right? Where this cider actually tastes good for once, right? And then so Kelly goes to eat the Mocklin food, and she's like, no.
Yeah, you can tell she doesn't want to spit it out, so she's eating it, but she's like, ugh, and she instantly puts her fork down after that, she's done. But anyway, so Clyden kicks her out, and the two of them end up getting into a fight. and
Well, yeah, because Bortus does want to tell Topa, and Clyden's all against it, and Clyden manages to convince Bortus that there's potentially more harm than good from this.
Because he's experienced it, right? So in reality,
the ostracization, the fear of becoming like an outcast of society, and all these things, and these are real concerns, like, because we know how these Mocklins are, and how insane they are about this stuff. But it's obviously the losing argument, but it's for a while. That's why. But I think there's enough of rationale of why Bortus makes his decisions and why he's acting the way he is. Too, right?
Oh, absolutely. And obviously this is something that hits home to some people, I'm sure. Very well. Might not be the same circumstance in some scenarios, but this type of treatment can happen.
Like any gay person who's got a parent who disapproves of them,
absolutely.
Obviously it would be an easy connection there, or lots of different examples, but this is just.
But I think the show also jumps into something that we don't see a lot in sci-fi shows, which is, what does this do to the psyche? Like, what does this do to the person itself? Like, is it better that she's ignorant to the fact that she was born a woman? Like, she was born a girl. Is this better for her?
I think the answer in this episode is clearly no, because
it's clearly no, but you also have to understand, it's for some people it's brutal, and
like if Topa was
Clyden is certainly part of that, right?
If Topa was carefree and happy and didn't have all these other issues, maybe, but that's not the case, right? So it's it's.
But I do like the interactions between these two. I like how they really get into each other's face, and Bortus never really loses his full cool, whereas Clyden goes full tilt. Like
Bortus
immediately, always.
Yeah, he goes full tilt. Yeah. Bortus does eventually lose.
It's not until when Bortus is like, "You need to shut up," right near the end.
But what's interesting?
You will be quiet.
Yeah, that's when they're talking to Topa, though.
Yeah, that was later.
When you think about the roles of the parenting here, I mean, it seems like Clyden spends a lot more time with Topa growing up.
Well, yeah, because he's a he's not an officer. He doesn't serve the ship. He's just family. Like, he's just there, right? So
he clearly knows that there's something. This is an unhappy kid.
But this also proves his character as well. Like, he's kind of a dick because he's not doing anything about it.
Yeah, he says it'll pass.
Yeah,
it's a phase.
Every kid is
unhappy.
Unhappy during their lives. Yeah. Okay. Well. Yeah.
Well, this may also be him projecting his story onto Topa too, right? Like, maybe Clyden did go through all this, but it was like his parents were not as understanding, and so
absolutely,
and so Clyden learned to be like this.
It's a great dynamic, and it's something that I think definitely praises with the show, because we don't see anything. I think Kevin said that earlier. We don't see this in a lot of stuff. Which is kind of interesting, and I like how they approach it in this episode, because like it's not completely everything in your face constantly. It's a slow burn, and on top of that, we get to see the different viewpoints of everybody involved, not just the main character, right? So it's nice to see how Clyden reacts to certain things, and how Bortus reacts and stuff like that. So anyway, we see Kelly's now in her. And I think she's in the observation lounge at this point. And basically Topa comes and says, I can't mirror you anymore. I think
my father doesn't want me to.
Is this the scene though, or is this?
No, this is it.
Okay.
No, this is it. And then he's like, my father said that I could continue, but it had to be with Ed.
With Ed, yeah. Basically, which, obviously Kelly takes very emotionally, and, she wanted to be the mentor, and she's no longer going to be given that option because of this. And then we see Topa now is in the, I guess this is engineering or the science lab, I guess, and discussing more of this. And it turns out that they can take the DNA and reconstruct the body of the person, kind of a la Fifth Element, and create a hologram of it. I do love this alien, by the way. I think
Yeah, for sure.
His voice was very familiar.
very
Yes.
familiar. I hope somebody can figure out who that was, because I don't think it's a big time actor, but it's definitely somebody we've heard before.
I'm looking it up.
So maybe somebody can look that up.
Um,
But fantastic makeup on him as well. So we end up seeing this is the tens of thousands of years since this species has been alive, and this is what they look like. So I thought that was kind of cool that we got to see that as well. And then Topo notices Isaac up there, and he kind of walks up to him and says, how did it feel to die? And he's like, well, it was like not being alive. It's the opposite of being alive.
Yeah.
It is the opposite of being alive.
Yeah.
I really like Isaac's answers here the whole time. It's just so mad.
I don't know who goes through the dialogue for Isaac, but it is spot on, and it's always perfect. Like, how like Data, same thing. Data was, pretty good, but there was some mix-ups sometimes where like it would conflict with something else that we heard previously. Something like that. But Isaac is solid. Like, they always have the right answer with him. Like, exactly what he's going to say because of his personality. He's always dry and doesn't goof around or anything. So it's fun to see. But I like his answers. Like, they literally, Topa does not get an answer for anything for what he's asking. It's just, he's like, well, did it feel good to die? I didn't feel anything. I was dead.
Were you upset? Were you upset that they reactivated you? That
was a
interesting
cool line.
question. Yeah,
It is a cool question. And I don't remember what Isaac says. I don't think he actually gives an answer.
He says he's unable to feel anything.
Yeah,
Right.
basically, I don't have a feeling for it one way or the other, basically. And Topa's like, okay, but we now know that Topa is at the point of possible suicide. Like, it's, this is kind of grim. So we see Kelly, and Kelly's, taking her licks emotionally, and now she's kind of just sitting in her quarters there. And this is when Isaac shows up, and Isaac says,
I didn't need this joke here.
What was the joke? I don't remember.
He was like, would you like me to tell people that nothing sexual went on here because it's after hours? And
yeah, I think they're trying to lighten the mood, but it just kind of came up as the wrong time to be doing that joke, basically.
Yeah,
you're literally going from sexual misadventures to possible suicide. Like, whoa, that's a crappy Jody segue right there. That's what that is. But what can you do? But anyway, she's like, yeah, no, that's okay. You don't have to report that to anybody. He's like, well, I can tell everybody that this wasn't sexual in nature or anything like that. I think maybe in a different scene this would be okay, but it didn't fit here, well.
Really. Yeah.
But basically, he says, union protocol is, if somebody I work with is, saying something that is questionable, I need to report that to my my commanding officer. And she's like, yep, no, that's right. And he's like, okay, bye. Like, and I like how he has no emotion about it. He's just like, yeah, no, he was asking me, what it was like to die. And okay, well, I've reported it. Bye. And he just leaves. Like, it's like, and she's like, oh my God, like, this is serious. And he's just like, okay, I did my duty. I'm done. So he takes off. But anyway, we see Topa is now hanging out, looking over some, I guess, Union Academy rules or whatever, studying some stuff. And this is when Kelly shows up, and Topa's like, I can't talk to you. Like, this isn't something. And she's like, well, this is not about anything to do with work, so it's okay. You're not pissing off your dad from that. So anyway, they have a little bit of a conversation, and then at this point, I can't remember what this conversation was even about, other than
she reveals the file that he says,
yeah, you should
dessert, right?
Yeah, what was the dessert called?
I don't remember.
Kimbap or something.
Something like
that.
kind
of a coded message in a sense.
Yeah, and he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go back to my thing, and I'm gonna go look up those recipes, and looks up the recipes, and
Kimbok 33.
Kimbok, yeah. So eventually, this is what Kimbok looks like.
Do you think it tastes good?
No,
I
that
don't
doesn't
think
look
so.
good at all.
But Kelly likes it, so
No.
maybe it is good.
There's like 40 different recipes in the computer or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still haven't got it right. It doesn't look like.
It doesn't look like they got it right. I want to know what's the deal with the ball in the middle. That's really what I like. Is that an egg? Like, what is
Probably.
That's-
Yeah.
It's
But
probably
anyway.
gross if it's Mocklin. So
it? Yeah. Topa comes across a file called Kimbok 33. I'm not totally sure why 33, but maybe there's some reference for that. So anyway, make some Kimbok.
and
from one of the
it's
recipes.
password protected, right?
It is password protected, so you can't access it.
That doesn't look appetizing to you, Kevin.
No, that looks like Baudet's head.
Yeah.
Galamite. Yeah.
Looks like something
It's fermented galamite. That's what it is.
It kind of looks like something that one of the aliens that I kill in Helldivers 2. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. But anyway, all of a sudden a message appears on the terminal, and it says, "Go Masca 488."
Which is the password, which
The password.
and we assume this is Kelly who's sending the password.
We thought this
because
was Kelly.
Kelly was the one who gave Topa the file name in the first
Yeah.
place.
So Topa gets in, and we all are now under the impression that Kelly, completely disregarded protocol and gave him the password. So anyway, and then we get into sickbay, and we see that Gordon's got into something. It turns out it's a tart.
Right. He ate some kind of alien dessert, which
apparently everybody has an allergic reaction to.
every
but-
human does.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. And he did, and it was quite awful.
This is the only time I really laughed, or it was when
me too.
The doctor said he's a child with no impulse control or something.
Yeah. What's
What's
wrong with
his
him?
problem? He's a
just an
child with
imball.
no impulse control.
She's not wrong, though. This is a guy that drinks beer like on his first day. But anyway, so he's like, I really wanted to taste those green.
Apparently, the
sprinkles.
green sprinkles are what
The
make it
green
great.
sprinkles are what makes it. Yeah. So anyway, she's like, "Here's this thing, shoot it at your face for 3 minutes," and she just walks out like she's pissed off.
Yeah, I love how irritated she is that he did this.
Well, and it just makes that line that she says, like when she gets into the office and starts talking to, I guess it's Kelly, is it?
Yeah, Kelly.
Yeah, it is Kelly.
Yeah, Kelly.
Apparently, I missed it somehow. But basically, she talks to Kelly, and she says, "Yeah, no, he's basically a man baby." And then we get to see Bortus, and Bortus's. He runs into Clyden, and Clyden's got that fucking egg thing that stabs people in the hands. I can't remember the name of the game, but they did mention it, but I totally don't remember it.
Oh yeah, the hot potato game.
Yeah, where basically, all of a sudden the spines come out and stab whoever's holding it. Terrible game.
And you win. You win when that happens.
Yeah, you win when that happens.
You're the
It's not even a
winner.
loss. But anyway, so I guess Topa was supposed to meet Clyden in the holodeck thingy to play this game, which I'm not totally sure why they would need to do it in there, considering they played it in their living room the last time. But
Maybe it's an intense Mocklin version.
maybe it's more intense, yeah. But anyway, so we see Topa, and Topa's staring off into space when these two show up, and we find out it's because he now knows what this is about. And at this point, Clyden he lets it in. Why didn't you guys tell me this? Clyden instantly goes.
Well,
into,
Clyden lies because when Topa asks him outright,
Yeah.
was I born female? And he goes, of course not.
Of course not. And then
Yeah.
Bortus is like, yes, you were.
Right.
So, and and this kind of further proves, this is the yin to the yang, right? So one of them's good, one of them's evil. Basically, I guess is a good way to look at it. Clyden's an ass. I've always hated the character.
Well,
but
it's pretty. It's like indefensible, really. It's sad. It's just sad and pathetic, right, on Clyden's part. But
now,
but
did they
also
have the
believable.
same? Do you think they had the same actor for both versions of Topa? In this?
No, it's not.
It isn't. Okay. Yeah, because the voice definitely changes quite well, and I'm like, I don't know how that kid pulled that
Oh,
off. But
sorry. I think pardon me. In this episode, yes, but
oh, you think both
There's
the
been-
female and the male version are both?
yeah,
played
there's
the
been
same
3 versions of Topa though.
There has been, yeah, because we've had different age.
Yeah,
ages as
because
well.
I think it's like watching this back. I'm like, it's clearly this is a female actor.
Yes,
playing
yeah,
the ma-
and
playing-
she's basing her voice, right?
they just played with the voice.
maybe in post.
Pitch, yeah.
And some of the prosthetics, I think, and things were kind of
Well,
amped up,
they when the transformation happens, the face is a little bit thinner and
Right.
stuff like that.
The eyelashes. The eyelashes always
Eyelashes, yeah. But anyway, so Topa's like, I can't believe you kept this from me. I've always felt like I'm an outsider. I'm not in my body. And at this point, Bortus is like kind of happy that it's now out. Like you can kind of see a little bit of, like even in the screenshot, you can see where he's kind of happy about it. Whereas Clyden is very not happy. And this is where he tells him basically to shut up. You will be silent.
Yeah.
His typical "you will be silent" trade line. And I love the scowl. The scowl, like the guy who plays Clyden does a great job. But my God, do you hate that character? And just that scowl is just.
He remember, you guys are Walking Dead fans, and he played Tyrese. Remember that
on Walking Dead.
Oh my God, that's Tyrese.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh wow. I
And
wouldn't have
you
even
remember
guessed that.
another Star Trek connection, but you remember who his sister was?
Well, see, Sonequa Martin Green.
Well,
That's right.
well, I know who that was. Yeah.
Sasha.
That's
Sasha. Yeah.
that's a series where she could act. But anyway,
She always that was never her problem with acting. If anything, she tries so hard to act in every scene, right? So,
the writing and Discovery.
there's no lack of effort from Sonequa Martin Green.
Yeah, I can't really fault her. I think it's more of the rest.
Well, you can't. It's they love the close-ups on her, so
They do love the close-ups on her. But anyway, I can't believe that's Therese. I didn't even realize that.
well, he has no beard.
Well, no beard and also tons of prosthetic on him. Totally didn't know that was him though. Awesome. But anyway, we see Kelly, and Kelly is very not happy, obviously, by the chain of events that's going on. So you assume at this point she was the one that gave the password. Now she's, kind of feeling the guilt about it. And then this is when the pound on the door happens. Not even just not
something again we would never see in Star Trek. So it just
just someone just fucking hauling on the door, and she's like, "Come in," and there's Clyden. And Clyden just goes in. He's frothing at the mouth. He's fucking right in her face and everything. And I think this entire scene is fantastic. I think they both did a great job. And she's like, well, someone has to tell him. Like it's. He's going through a crisis here. Like he has to know what's going on and the reason why. And, he's like, it's not your place. I'm his father. Blah, 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 blah. The typical thing. And it's like, well, someone has to do it. And she dresses him down a bit. Like she's giving him shit too, which is great. And the two of them really get in each other's face. And then he tries to hit her. And that's when she kind of does the old flip and throws him into the wall. And she's like, I love the line where she goes, and if you ever attack another officer on this ship again, I will literally remove your arm and hang it on my wall. It's like, oh God. So you really get to see a good violent side to Kelly here. I like her character. Right? You know what? First season, I didn't like her that much, but she's definitely
the scene helped win you over.
Well, I already liked her at this point, but this scene is by far makes things even more better. My choice is clearly a good choice. But anyway, I just like how she reacts to him, and she's like, I'm going to let you go now, and you're going to leave. And if you don't, there's going to be a bigger problem. And just the scowl as he's walking away, I'm just like, well done. Well done. This is great. So anyway, we go back to, and at this point, she's now sitting around in her quarters, and it's like, she's like, this day couldn't get any fucking worse, basically. And then this guy shows up. But I do like the fact that she knows he's not going to react like Clyden did. Like, she's not at all posturing with him. Like, she's like, I'm really sorry.
He would go to the brig if he tried to do what Clyden did.
Oh,
he's
absolutely.
An officer.
Yeah, a little different, but, the same thing still applies, right? Like, he could be just as equally mad, but he's not. And we find out with a little bit of tears and everything. We didn't even know Bortus could cry. But he's crying a little bit about this decision. And he's like, I was the one that gave the password. And at that point, I have to admit, this was a good thing to throw in because I totally thought Kelly did it. Even if I've already watched this episode.
This is the best part because he says, I
Yes.
don't know what to do. I don't know how to help.
I don't know how to
I
help
have no
Topa.
idea.
Right, because yeah.
And this
it-
relates to a lot of parents because, we've all, as parents, we've all had that point where the kids have gotten into a situation that we don't really have an answer for. Like, at least I have anyway. I can't speak for the rest of you, but
Oh,
I
yes.
definitely have. But I think that's pretty apparent to everybody. So it's one of those things that, you feel helpless, you want to help your child, but you can't. Like, what can Bordas do in this situation? All he can do is support his child, right? Like, that's it. Like, and sometimes that's all he can do.
he's lost in himself because there are realities to and consequences as well, but
Absolutely.
it's also in the Moclan culture, and they play out in this episode. But more than that, I think that Bordas is just like that helpless feeling of you want to do whatever you can for your child, but sometimes if that's not in your power directly, or you don't have the exact perfect answer at least. So
Exactly.
Give him all the awards for this scene. He killed it.
Him, Kelly, even Clyden in this episode, Topa as well. All of them are solid in this episode. But I think he's probably the standout.
This is like, I think, like when and the nominees are, you play this scene for for
exactly.
Bordas.
So anyway, we go back into we're now in the med bay, and they're talking with Claire, and Claire's like, yeah, Topa's in there, and been going through some things, and I kind of get where it's going here, and Kelly's like, can I go in and talk? And so she goes in and basically kind of tries to reassure him, we get it, we understand what's going on here, and we know you're in a hard spot kind of thing, which, let's be honest, this is a lot of pressure for however old this kid is. We don't really know, but all I know is Moclans grow up pretty quick because there's only a year difference between this season and last season.
Right, because so in chronologically, Topa was born in 2419, and we are now 3 years later.
Yeah.
So
already the size of a teenager. So, huge. But anyway, I like this little scene between the two of them. I thought it was pretty heartfelt. And she's like, we'll do whatever we can to help you. Like, it's not a problem. And then she mentions, I don't even know, like, Topa's like, I don't even know what a female Moclan is. I've never come across one, blah, blah, blah. And Kelly, Kelly is like, well, we can do something about that. So she pulls up the hologram from the episode or the event, I guess, of the female that lived on the mountain.
Yeah, from the season 1, episode 3, about a girl.
Yeah, about a girl. There you go. Yeah. And I have to give credit to the visual effects department here. They did a fantastic job of merging this. Like, it's beautifully done. They do such a good job of this. I don't know how the hell they did it, but it looks flawless. Like, and at first I thought it was just stills that they've taken, but like, for instance, like, what's her name? The one that ended up leaving, and then the other one.
But that Lara.
Oh, Lara, but she's in the background. She's moving around. She's reacting.
I don't think she was actually on set.
No, they've green screened this somehow, and they've done a fantastic job of it because everybody, including Kelly's other hair from the original first season, but she doesn't have the straight ass hair,
and the uniforms.
The uniforms are different too. Yeah. If you notice between the two, one's got the flat emblem, the other one's got
the black edging on the shoulders here. Of course, the emblem on the chest back then was just more of like a one-dimensional flat print. There's a bunch of different little subtle differences they made.
This scene is fantastic. Like, even Claire has a different hair. Her hair's different in this as well. Bordas is there with Clyden. We have Gordon in the background as well,
and it's 3 years in terms of the timeline of the show, but it's 5 years since these episodes between these episodes.
So like, whoever managed to mesh this, they did a fantastic job, because like, Alara's in the background, she's moving around, so it's not like a faked out thing. Like, they've taken the original scenes and then just found a way to superimpose.
Apparently they did bring her. I heard they bring her back, the one who plays Havina.
I was wondering that because there is a
speech
couple
different.
scenes. The
The
speech,
speech
is slightly different.
and there's some close-ups. I think we're
That
filmed
were there
specifically for
originally,
this
yeah.
episode, but
Yeah, so they
I
must
think
have
the
brought it back.
everything in the background is archival. I believe.
Yeah, I think the
So-
foreground characters are the ones that are actually there, and then everybody else is just kind of that's the projection of the last episode with them all. But the fact that they have Kelly in the old hair and stuff like that, and Alara in the background, I just like how this is all played out. But basically, Topa gets to see how this played out and how this was about her. Like this was or him.
It's
at
about a
this point.
girl.
It's about a girl. Funny enough. But anyway, so it's at this point, Topa gets to see, how amazing this woman was, and I guess that further kind of cements,
Well, the
his
whole
decision.
speech was about the gift that Havina's parents gave to her, and that she got to explore who she was.
She got to
and,
live, yeah,
and that she got she
And
she
live
had
how
a
she
very
came out.
meaningful life, and she couldn't if she hadn't had that so like these words are incredibly inspiring, not just to Topa but to the audience, right?
yeah, of course, yeah, absolutely. So anyway, we go back to Claire, and at this point, Topa's like, "Yeah, no, I want to go ahead with this. I want to get switched back to what I was, and can you do that?" And Claire's like, "Yeah, we probably can, but I got to talk to somebody about it." So anyway, Claire brings it upon everybody. Clyden instantly is like, "I will kill anybody who does this," basically. And I love how Bortus in this entire scene, as everybody's fighting around him, he's just sitting there. He's not reacting to anything, and eventually he gets into the point of reacting, but he stands
Clyden just looks at him and says, "I'll leave.
Yeah,
If you
I'll
say
leave
yes
you.
to this, I'll leave
Yeah,
you, and
I'll
I
leave
won't
you.
even stab you."
And
I won't even give you the honor of being.
I won't even give you the honor of stabbing you. Yeah.
Yes.
Which we find out that's how they divorce,
Right.
which is interesting and a little odd. But basically, Bortus finally stands up after all those conversations happened, and he says, "Yep, no, I think."
Well, the other thing too is we find out in the scene that Ed reveals that union law says only one parent has to give consent,
Consent,
and not both.
and that really pisses off Clyden. Like, he gets even way worse. And at this point, she's like, "Yeah, no, we could do this. It's and they're like, what about the ethical angle of it?" And she's like, "Well, normally we wouldn't allow somebody of this age to make this decision, but seeing as how this was a decision that was taken from her to begin with,
Right.
it's
You're kind of undoing.
she's
another
like,
thing,
I'm
so-
okay with this on the moral compass." I guess
Yeah.
is really what she's kind of saying.
But and Bortus didn't want to go through with it in the first place either, right? As a
Yeah.
parent, so there was
Yeah, so we know where he's going to stand on this anyway, but Clyden is just he's basically the devil, and and Claire's just like, "Yeah, no, I don't know, blah blah blah, I can do it, but I need to know if we can do this correctly." And Bortus is like, "Yeah, no, I think we should do it," and I love Bortus's look here because he knows he's going to lose Clyden, but he also kind of knows that it's the right thing to do, I guess, is a way to look at it.
But we've been down this road. It's like he knows Clyden.
Yep.
And he tolerates this side of him, over the years.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And now it's coming to a head.
Isn't
Yeah,
it
yeah.
There's one part where Bortus says to Clyden, like, "What is it like to have all the answers? Is it great, being so right all the time?"
Being amazingly right and accurate on everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get to see now. I didn't catch this admiral's name. Anybody?
I do have it here somewhere.
I have it.
Admiral
Awesome.
Howland.
Howland.
Howland. All right. I'm sure there's
Played
a
by
reference.
Andy Chapman.
Fantastic. I love this one because this one isn't like the other ones. This one's like, you know what? I sympathize for you, but no, we're not doing that. And you're not doing it, and I forbid it. And don't do it.
Yeah, but she didn't. It wasn't just that simple. I mean, she also said that the Admiralty debated 9 hours over it, and
Yeah. And they
And
came to the conclusion it's
said
not worth it.
she said she wished she had better news. Like she was personally for doing this, but
Well, and you see even in the last scene
Yeah.
after they get the undressing, like you know she has compassion for the situation, but she also has a duty, and her duty is to make
well,
sure.
also
things
like
go.
it is kind of sound. Billions could die because of this decision.
Yeah. Like if they lose the Mocklin support, that's a big blow to them for their defense, and it certainly could be a problem. So I get it.
I like this scene because it really tied it back to the bigger scale issues that are going on right now. This is a very, a local, micro issue. When you have all these macros.
Compared to what's happening. Yeah, exactly. Because they now don't have Krill support. They've lost the Krill support.
The whole thing with the Krill blew up in the last episode.
That blew up in the last episode, so they don't have that. Mocklins are really all they have, at this point.
Mocklins make most of their weapons.
And so it would be a massive blow, and she kind of gets it. And Kelly's pissed off at this situation. She totally gets that. Mercer's like, yeah, I get it, but surely there's something we can do here. Nope, we can't sanction this. Don't do it. I'm forbidding you to do it. Basically, is what she says.
The doctor's ordered not to do it, and they're all ordered
the doctor can't do it either. It's on it. She goes, this cannot happen on a Union ship, 100%. Which totally makes sense. And then at this point, they kind of have to break this to Topa. And you can even see like Bortus is emotional during this. Like he's angry that he can't get the help that is needed for his, soon to be daughter. But basically, the two of them are just broken up about this. So I know they get, we get a scene back on the planet again where we find out that another Union ship's coming to take over, and they're just kind of cleaning up, and they're heading out soon. They don't get to go through all the riches and everything, which doesn't mean anything to them anyway. We see Charlie has taken a nasty hit. To me, this already looks like it was stitched, so I'm not totally sure why we're even bothering with this, but I guess maybe it's just the angle or something. But to me, this looks like a wound that was stitched.
Guys,
I don't like Charlie. I and it's no fault of the actress. I'm sure she's doing exactly what she's supposed to be doing, and I think she can act. But it almost feels like she's there to fill in a hole that didn't need to be filled, I guess is a good way to explain it. But we explained that she fell and cut herself, and Claire's down there for that, and she fixes it up, and then at this point everybody
stand up slowly, and then she gets up so quickly, and so I was like running away from the stage.
I mean, she's not my favorite character either. I find her unwarrantedly arrogant.
Yes, that's a very good way to look at it. Abrasive and arrogant.
She is far too arrogant for her position on the ship.
And I just don't even think like you need her in this episode, even, right? Because like, Lamar's
what did she do
in the episode, and like, why is she feels like they're trying to put her in every episode a little bit more than they need to.
It's almost like she's just getting kind of plied in. Yeah,
there was a scene where I can't remember if this happens, but in my mind it did. Do her and Gordon get together?
I don't remember, but I know there was interactions about it.
Charlie and Gordon?
Yeah.
No, they're not a couple.
I don't think they do get it together, but
in real life, Charlie, the actress playing Charlie, Ann whatever Winters, I think, she's dating Seth MacFarlane at the time that they're making this.
Yeah, so maybe that's the reason why she has a job. But who knows? But anyway, so we get to see this, and Tala says, along the lines of, all the crews, on Topa's side, we're wishing her good luck, blah, blah, blah. And I don't remember why these two look sad.
Well, they're just like, we can't do anything about it. But then the doctor's like, what if I resign from the union? Then you can't do it.
Oh, that's
like,
right. Yeah.
Well, they're like, well, no.
Why would you throw away your career for this?
Throw away your career, and then we would like, it's still you become.
Which I guess shows the character of Claire and how she puts people above everything else. Like, she doesn't care about her title; she just wants to help.
Well, she wants to be a good doctor, but like, this is not like a perfect solution, and they kind of point out a few reasons for that.
Yeah.
And
then Isaac's like, well, I could do it. And I love how they're like, you're not a doctor, Isaac. And he's like, I can compute things to better accuracy and all that than any of you guys could ever do. It's like, this is easy. Just don't show me how to do it.
Yeah, to me, aligning an engine core is the same as aligning a fucking heart or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's like, yeah, this is easy shit. I can do this.
Is it?
Well,
Apparently so.
Yeah.
He does.
So-
He does.
But anyway, they're like, yeah, well, I guess we're gonna have to figure something out. And she's like, I got a great idea. And then we go back to the ship, and Mercer makes an announcement that Bortus is going to be having a one-night only show where he's going to recite favorites from 16 planets. And he's going to sing. Finally, everybody's going to get to witness the awesomeness that is Bortus singing. No one cares about Claire's kid being able to play the piano really well. It's
we already know that. We
already know that. It's fine. But
But
anyway,
but what was their plan? Because this is how they were going to get all the rest of the ship to like not go to sickbay during the.
well,
procedure.
this is the this is the whole military version of essentially like, you know what, if we're not there, we can't be held accountable.
Right,
And
but
it's like, I didn't know this was happening.
But
you know?
it seems like they don't think about Clyden at all. Like Clyden's
No,
not at the
Clyden's not
recital.
there.
No one's
He's
asking.
walking around.
Hey, is somebody keeping Clyden occupied?
And they
Like,
even show like through a montage, they kind of show where all of the areas of the ship are just empty. Like there's nobody there because everybody's at this thing. Which I don't know what the complement on the ship is. I know it's
300.
Yeah, it's not a lot, but I guess it could be 300 there. But everybody got really excited about it. The one thing that I didn't like about this was the fact that names are coming up and it's like row and seat and stuff like that. So do they like have like a ticket master built into this?
They do. They have it.
I wonder what the convenience fee is. It must be insane. But anyway, so they're filling up this this auditorium pretty quickly. So it's and Bortus is like, hey, all right. And Bortus says something. I can't remember what the joke is.
I'll bring my A game.
Oh yes. How does Gordon say it? I'll bring my A game. And he's like, yeah. Basically. Like that's literally one of only 2 scenes he has in the entire show. But anyway, so everybody's on their way to go see the recital. We get to see a lot of shots of various aliens, and this gets back to your guys' point where we get to see tons of aliens in this show. Like there's always people walking around that are aliens. So it's always interesting to see. By the way, did catch a shot of them. We're okay.
And Dan.
Dan's there. It's fine. Dan's there. Don't worry about it. But we get to see this guy up front though. He's got some serious ball forehead thing going on here. I'm not totally sure what's going on there, but anyway. Does this look like 300 people? Yeah, I guess it could be. Yeah, it could be. 150 each side. Might be stretching it, but anyway. Now we see Yafid come in, but he's not in the crowd. I don't know where they put him. So maybe he has like a balcony seat or something. I don't know. But when they do the long shot and show the entire crowd, he's not there. I couldn't pick him out. I don't know why. But we do see Dan is behind. This
is the part that Jody's most concerned with. What are the seating arrangements at this concert?
Well, you know what, Dave? You have uniforms. I have seating arrangements.
Okay, it's interesting that this is the thing. You're like, we need to dedicate 5 to 10 minutes of the podcast on where people are sitting.
I have a comment about this too. Is like, where the hell everybody's like not at their stations? Nobody's
like
doing anything.
How is this ship functioning? But I guess they're technically just in orbit, so it's not like it's doing anything.
Yeah, but
I'm sure they have a little bit of a crew looking at something.
There should be some skeleton because when they do that panning out where he's singing and you empty room, empty room, empty room. What the hell?
Yeah,
nobody's working.
Yeah, we see that. And is this Ty? Or is this
yes.
Yeah, this is Ty because Marcus is
Ty's the youngest one.
Yeah, there you go. So Ty's here to play piano. Bortus comes on, and I love like as he's getting ready to sing, he's like, "That's a wrong key." He's so angry.
You're too high a key, Ty. He yells at the kid.
Ty's like, "Whoa, okay," and he lowers it down a bit, and he's like, "Okay," and then he starts singing.
We know this about Bortus and his performances that he's very demanding. He's kind of
very
diva.
Kind of a diva.
Yeah, this is where he yells at him, and the look on Ty's face is just like, "Whoa, okay." I guess they didn't have time to practice, so Ty wouldn't know which key to start in because this was a pretty spur of the moment thing. But anyway, so he starts singing. I do like how he does the little like clasp thing with his hands, as a lot of singers do. And we see all these empty shots, which might be a background for me later But we get like the armory's empty, engineering's empty. And we get to see Isaac, and he's walking towards the med bay.
Well, yeah, that's another thing.
First
It wasn't in order to go to this concert. So, like, do you think everybody in the ship would want to hear this guy sing?
I would want to hear him sing. Absolutely. I don't
Especially show tunes.
Well, maybe not.
Was a boy.
Yeah.
Let's not have Dave sing. But anyway, we see Topas in the observation lounge, and Isaac's like, "Come with me."
A very strange, enchanted boy.
Oh my god. Anyway,
They say he wandered very far.
you just gave me shit for seating arrangements, and you're doing this.
Okay. All right.
All right. Anyway.
Over land and sea. Okay, that's it.
All right. You good?
Yeah.
I know that's the East Coaster in you, I guess. But anyway, so he's like, "Yeah, get on the table and disrobe." But he does it like there's no care at all in it, and Topa's just kind of like, "Huh?" And he's like, "I'm going to perform this, blah blah blah." And this is when he comes in. Now I do like the confrontation between Isaac and him as well, because he goes to swipe at him too, and he tries to get around him, and Isaac just holds him. Because Isaac is obviously pretty strong, but Clyden really gets into everybody's face in this episode.
I think that he is still a father to her, and he
absolutely,
and everybody's against him, so he's not getting any through.
Yeah, he's not getting any leeway with anybody. Yeah. So Topa's obviously upset that Clyden's there, and this is where he kind of goes around him, and Isaac just grabs him. And he's like, "You can leave now."
It's different than the encounter with Kelly, where Kelly was pissed off and
and he's just trying to get to his son, or daughter, depending on which part of the episode you're in. But basically, he gets kind of thrown down on the ground, and Isaac's like, "You can now leave." And he disgruntledly leaves. He's really good at leaving. He does the exact same leave on every scene, with the shoulders up and all that. But anyway, so we see Topa gets put onto the medbay bed thing, and they have the very Star Trek-ish dome thing that goes over the body, and I guess it does something inside of it to do this.
Because there's that whole part at the beginning where Isaac's like, disrobe and lie on the table. It's just
very concerning from that guy.
I was like, I don't think I wouldn't want to do this procedure either right now, Topa.
Yeah. And then we go back to Bort is still singing.
The bedside manner was a little bit lacking, but
yeah. Nowhere in this scene can I see Yafid, but maybe he's off to the side that I can't see. But I'm still upset about that. But anyway, maybe he doesn't need a chair because he could be his own chair. So I guess maybe. But
sure, he can also extend his
periscope
up, and if he wants to see, he can make a little periscope.
Yeah, I still don't see him. But anyway, that's fine. It's fine. I'm gonna let it go.
Don't worry. He's there.
Okay. I'm glad.
He's okay.
Thanks, Kevin. I needed that. All right. Anyway, so we get some more, and then we see a scene with Topa opening now her eyes, and she gets up and she can walk and all this, and Isaac's like, "Are you all right?" And she gets her first look at herself in the mirror, and she clearly has a more feminine jawline and other things. So pretty cool that they did that. And her voice is now different too, so that's good too. Probably the actress's real voice.
Yes. But the cool point there is that you see a genuine smile from her finally.
Well, and that's what happens, because from this point on, every scene you see her in, she's generally smiling.
Yeah, except for when her father says no.
Yeah, the father says that he wished she was never born. But anyway, word has it that Admiral whatever her name was, started with an H, I think. Howland. There you go. She wants to have a word with Kelly and Mercer. And you see them, and the two of them are at, they're obviously at attention. And this woman is just dressing them down like there's no tomorrow. I was very clear on this.
Yeah.
This was not to happen.
That just shut up. You're not going to talk unless you're spoken to.
Yeah,
Which
you
made
don't
me
talk
laugh
unless
because
you're spoken to.
Which made me laugh because she's directly speaking to him right before he says something. So
Yeah, and he goes to answer her, and she's like, "You just shut your damn mouth." And she just gives him a good talking. I did like this scene. I thought this was
she was great.
One of the strongest scenes in the episode.
We don't see this too often where like the captain gets like addressing Dan, right? You know,
so
so
it's very rare. But I love how they both get addressed, and they're doing the sir, yes sir thing. And there's one point where she's not looking at them, and the two of them are making faces at each other like shit, right? That was pretty funny. But anyway, she's like, I understand why this happened, and he's like, well, we didn't know it was happening. We were at the gala there where we got to see Bortus sing.
So you're insubordinate and incompetent.
Yeah, you're insubordinate
and, goes,
and incompetent.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I did love that. And the look that Kelly gives him is just like, oh, fuck, we're so screwed. And she's like, yeah, no, this is not going to happen on this ship. And blah, blah, blah. And she goes, you guys have to have better judgment, basically. And
you ever pull something like this again, you're both out. You're
both.
Yeah.
Like you're on thin ice at this point.
And well, if it was Admiral Forrest, he would have gone like, "Well, you can make your decisions.
You're the one out here. You make the decisions."
Yeah, I'm not out here like you are, John. Or it's just, no, Admiral Forrest would not.
Admiral Forrest would have been like, "Oh, so that's what you did. Oh, well, you're out there. You got to make the choice that's best for you guys."
I can't second guess you, John. So Howland, not.
You want to run a strip club in 10 forward? You go right ahead. You do that. It's fine. But anyway, so and as she's leaving, which I guess I didn't catch, maybe I didn't. But basically, she says, and also, give my regards, to the Mocklin girl. As she's walking away, and the two of them are just kind of surprised she even says that after they just got a severe undressing from her. But I liked how she did that. I don't think any of the other admirals we've already been introduced to could have done that way. I don't think they could have did it as nicely as she did. So well done.
No, Ted Danson would have screwed that up.
Ted Danson would have laughed in the middle of it. And fucking what's his name? I can't remember his real name, but
Victor Garbo.
Garbo, that's it. Garber, I think.
Garber.
Yeah, Garber. Garber would be like, he would try to be serious, but like deep down he's fine because he kind of likes Mercer. Where she doesn't seem to care one way or the other about these two. She's just like, you guys need to shut up.
Like whether it had been Ted Danson or the Japanese admiral there.
I forgot about him too. Sorry.
I'm glad they brought in this particular actor to do.
This was a great pick to do it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The only one that could have did this better would have been the drill instructor from Full Metal Jacket, but past that,
if he's available, I'm not sure. But
well, I think he's dead now, isn't he? Maybe he's still alive. I don't know. One way or the other. Great movie. You should watch it. At least the first half, anyway. But anyway, we see this scene, and Clyden's packing his bags, and he's like, "I wish you were never born," and he just leaves. And Topa's just like, "Yeah, no, that's not cool. You're an ass." And he's like, "I just want to let you know you are perfect." So Bortus does the right thing. He supports the kid and does what he should be doing, and solid scene there. Then we get to see Isaac and Claire. Claire's like, you did a really good thing, and he goes, I didn't do it for the kid. I did it to for relations and
for selfish reasons. So people would like
basically. Yeah, so people would like me. And she goes, well, either way, it was a good decision. And she's like, how about some dinner? And he's like, okay. And then the two of them kind of walk off. So yay, we get more of this again. And then we get to see Topa again. And Topa is now enjoying some more of that, whatever the cake's called, that looks like an eyeball and whatnot. Looks absolutely terrible. And she gets a call from Kelly. Kelly's like, hey, we're about to take off. I figured maybe you'd want to sit in the captain's chair and see us off. And she's like, I would. And she's got a big smile on her face. And we get a nice scene of her walking all the way up to the bridge.
It was supposed to be on the double. She should be running.
She should be running, but she ain't.
Hey, she's not an officer yet.
Yeah, she doesn't have to follow that. But anyway, she's got a massive smile on her face, and everybody's greeting her quite warmly. And even she looks over at her dad, and her dad's like, "Yeah, you go."
Yeah,
girl.
Picard would have none of this. You're not.
No,
sitting in this
Picard would
chair.
be like, "You're not sitting in that fucking chair. What are you doing?" And shut up, Wesley.
Yeah, you can fly the ship. You can fly the ship. I'll allow that.
You can fly the ship, but you have to only fly what we tell you to do. That's it. You're not allowed to go anywhere else. But anyway, so she gets to give the command to go ahead. Kelly's very happy that she's getting to sit there, and even Bortus he's got that proud dad thing going on there. And she's like, engage quantum drive or whatever. And then at that point they take off, and that's the end of the episode. So I think it was a good episode.
Yeah.
Everybody else? Yeah. All right. But you know what? There's some things that are better than the episode. And that, of course, is we all know it. We all love it. And eventually I'll find the graphic. But is it there? I still can't find it. Oh, hold on. I think I found it. There it is. It's time for Fun Facts with Adam.
Fun Facts with Adam.
There you go. We even got the reverb going. Nice. Anyway,
All right,
give us some fun facts.
Okay, Jody, just for you, I found this one.
Oh, great.
All right. After the concert is announced, graphics on Tal's console shows seating laid out as 10 rows of 20 seats each. So that's 200, right?
That is 200.
The actual concert audience seating is laid out as 11 rows of 18.
Okay, which would put it at
198.
198, yeah.
But it wouldn't work because you're assigned seating. So
so there must be some people on like the second level.
no, it's messed up. They didn't do it right.
All right, well, we'll forgive them.
I don't know if you guys caught. Well, I mean, we talked about it briefly, but Ensign Bolivar, his name was the naked guy. Kelly talks to him about wearing a uniform to clarify his rank, and she says that no other uniform or no other crew members are naked. Well, that's not true. We have Yaphet and what's the other guy? The big guy. The big guy. And they don't really have any problems there. So
yeah,
right.
She was just trying to ease the situation.
I guess it depends on the species too.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe. Well, Yaphet doesn't have any viewable genitalia,
right?
But this guy clearly did have.
Yeah,
we didn't see it, but
yeah,
he must have had something.
Because she called him lieutenant for 1 minute, and he goes ensign. Oh, she's like, oh yeah, I couldn't tell.
I couldn't tell because you don't have the things on. I did like that. That was a cute little nod. Yeah.
Kai Wenner, who plays Ty, began studying classical piano as part of his preparation for season 2.
Really?
Wow. And in this episode, all the piano playing was done by the actor without any doubles or professional stand.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good job.
That's impressive.
Sure is.
I dabble in playing piano, and I'm not even close to that. That's phenomenal.
Yep. The first song that Bortus sings is "Nature Boy," written by Eden Al-Abez, and it was first recorded by Nat King Cole. It was also featured in the movie Moulin Rouge, as well as the version of the original soundtrack performed by David Bowie.
Yeah, I remember the Moulin Rouge. It's like the first song in that movie.
Never seen it.
Jean Leguizamo sings it at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Halston Stage makes a brief non-speaking cameo as Lieutenant Lara Kitan via the use of archival footage from season 1.
So that was green screen then.
Yep. The artwork hanging in the wall next to Kelly Grayson's office door, I think we've talked about this before, is the cover art for the Journey's album, Escape.
Yeah, we've seen that before. She loves her journey.
Mm-hmm.
This was the only Admiral introduced, Admiral Howland, who hasn't got a World War II reference or a namesake from World War II. And I actually had to go back and check that myself because I didn't believe it. But
isn't there like the Howling Commandos is at least in Marvel or something like that, or the Howland and the something?
I don't think those are real.
No, but I don't know. I thought like Howland might. Maybe it's a nod to the MCU for all I know, but
it could be.
Yeah.
Howland versus Howland, though I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know either.
This episode runs 76 minutes long, including all the credits.
Long.
Yeah, it places it as the longest episode of the season and of the series to date, eclipsing the season premiere of Electric Sheep by 6
Howland island was attacked by the Japanese during World War II, the 2 days after the bombing of Pearl Harbor.
Oh, there you go. That could be it.
Yeah. Because he loves
Well
World
done,
War
Dave.
II.
This episode
I didn't know
introduces the Planetary Union's calendar called Union Standard. Union Standard might be a, well, of course it is, relation to the Star Trek star dates.
Their version of that.
Yeah. Adrienne Palicki, who plays Kelly Grayson, considers this episode to be the high point of both herself and her character through all the series. And I would agree. She did a great acting.
Fantastic job.
What about Batman? Was Batman here?
Yeah, there was. It was actually his arm things. I can't remember what they're called, but there was a reference to that.
Gauntlets.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, thank you. And that there isn't a lot of fun facts I around this episode, but it was just I think just generally a really strong episode.
I agree.
There was one thing that worried me, guys. I'm going to say this is that at the beginning of the episode, Kelly found out from Ed that he's writing letters to his daughter.
Oh yeah, I didn't even mention that. Yeah.
And then she was, oh, there's something I find out about you all the time. You surprised me. I think I know you. And I was thinking, oh no, Kevin, they're going to get into it again.
Oh, of course they are. Of course they are.
Yeah, but
I'm
it didn't
ready for
happen
it.
in
I don't
this
think they do
episode.
though. I don't remember.
I think by the end of
Oh,
this,
they do.
I think
I'm
by the end
sure
of
of
the
it.
season, like they're starting to look at that, aren't they? Or if I remember.
I don't know. I didn't see it.
Oh,
I just
you know what?
that
I
they
think
do.
the last episode of this season does have a bit of a nod to it. Yeah, you're right.
But
I remember that now.
So I'll wrap it up there. But yeah, let's do the ratings.
All right. You ask and you shall receive. Ratings.
we have to get Adam's two previous.
Oh yeah, let's do that first. So Adam, how did you feel about Morality Paradox?
Mortality
I'm with you on
paradox.
this one.
Sorry, Mortality Paradox. Yeah.
About a 6.
6. That's about where we all were. So that really doesn't change the rating at all. And last week's episode, Gently
Right.
Falling Rain.
I really enjoyed that episode. Watched it yesterday afternoon.
We all did too, apparently.
And well, you guys watched it a week ago. I would say I'm going to agree with you guys on this one and give it a 9.5.
9.5.
And then tonight, if I can go first, I might as well go first.
Yeah.
Wow. Actually, now that I gave that a 9.5, I'm going to give this one a 10.
All right. All right, Dave, how do you feel about that?
I like this episode. I don't know if it's like a 10 for me. It's probably a 9, but
9?
it's
All right.
but it's pretty good.
Damn respectable anyway. Kevin.
I give it a 9.5. If they did something other than Isaac performing the surgery solves everything, then it might be a 10. That really takes it down.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was on that, and I'm gonna go 9 myself. I just feel that that's where it needs to be. Last week's episode was a better episode in my opinion, but either way, we got an average of 9.4 on the panel. Funny enough, IMDb says that it's not as good as last week's episode. It is a 7.9 on IMDb, which puts us at what does that put us at? 8.6.
But it's still in terms of IMDb scores, it's the second highest
of this season, right?
after Gently Falling Rain. So
Oh, okay.
which
So there
seems
you
to be the so far of the first 5 episodes.
That
It
seems to be the standard.
seems to be the one people consider to be the best of these first 5. But
And Dave, I know you're going to ask me what the next one is. And
Yeah.
the next one's the one that I thought a couple episodes ago it was going to be, but it's actually this one now, which is Twice in a Lifetime. The crew must rescue Gordon from a distant yet familiar world. It's a time traveling episode, and the singing girl comes in again.
Oh boy.
You know what? It's not a bad episode, though. really isn't.
listen to the excitement, everybody. You
He's
know.
very excited. He really
Make sure to tune in next week for our take on this one.
Yes, but you know what?
Adam was channeling my general attitude.
There's something far more exciting than what Adam is thinking about right now, and that's what's happening on Live Long and Podcast.
All kinds
And
of things.
there's so many things, Dave. So many things that I don't know them, and I have to ask you for them.
Well, on Saturday we did our whole Lower Decks series retrospective. We talked about the Lower Decks as a whole, and here's my question for you guys: Do you support ideological messaging in the Orville?
Oh my God. Captain Teabag strikes again. Fuck that guy.
Yeah,
Fuck that guy.
yeah. We were getting some live comments during that podcast about they were going at us about Prodigy in particular.
He was
and we-
trying to expose us for the woke liberal cucks that we are.
Well,
I wouldn't say we're woke liberal, but
Yeah.
anyway, that's fine. Everybody
and
has
then-
an opinion, even if it's wrong.
This guy anyway. And then we just did our Section 31 review about a week ago, talking about that film. So we can go watch that live.
I still
stream.
haven't got rid of the tendencies of suicide after watching that episode.
Well, and
bad.
partly it was like that movie being bad kind of opened the floodgates of like this angry mob of fans who have been brewing, I guess, for a while in Star Trek, just waiting
So
for their
on a
chance.
scale of like 1 to Davin, how angry were they?
Oh, they're pretty angry.
Because people were pretty angry with Davin at one point.
But you know, that was about his reactions, but this is more about the anti-Kurtzman thing. And I agree that like Kurtzman, I think should move on, but
I completely agree. I
but
think he should have moved
how
on 10 years ago.
I project that and how I talk about it is very different than maybe others. But
Yeah, but
You're
then
very
there's the whole
diplomatic.
thing. If you don't love all Star Trek, you're not a fan.
That's not true.
that's
I
not
agree
true
with
either.
you. I hated this.
There's a
section
lot of Star
31.
Trek I don't like, but I love Star Trek.
Yeah.
You don't, you know. So I try to just stay objective. And looking back, and we like to look at the old episodes of Star Trek, Jody. Like tomorrow, we're on Tuesday this week, not Thursday. We are doing Elementary Dear Data from season 2, episode 3, with the introduction of the Moriarty holodeck character. I'm on with Adam and Heather and who else tomorrow? There's a third.
I think you have a third. Yeah.
We do. I'm trying
I thought
to
I saw it in the
recall.
chat.
Yes, I just don't remember now. Who the third-
And a special surprise guest.
it is.
Don't ruin the surprise, Dave. I just said it was a surprise. See, now
Oh,
it's-
it's Justin. It's Justin.
See, you ruined the surprise.
Yeah, Justin.
I
who
was
though?
I watched the first half of it before we came on air tonight, and I forgot how good that was. Or it
Elementary
is.
Dear Data. Yeah,
It's a decent episode.
There's
I like
the moment
Moriarty's second episode better.
His second episode's way better.
But that moment when I will talk about it tomorrow, but that moment where he draws the picture for Data, and Data just takes the picture, walks right off, and Geordi can't stop him. Right, like
Yeah.
that's my favorite moment in that episode. You know,
That is pretty cool.
so,
It'd be better if Pulaski wasn't in it.
I disagree with you, Jody.
I
That's
hate that
the-
bitch. She's such a
I-
pain in the ass.
I hate her too, but she's not egregious in that. as
That's
much.
true.
Well,
She's not
and that-
terrible.
And that's when she's trying to get to know Data more and get to warm up to Data. So
Yeah, and then she's a prick to him later on.
right.
Again.
Well, she's got her issues, but anyway. So we're talking about all that here on Live Long and Podcast. Also, we have True Currency under the United Federation of Podcasts, the newest show with Jaemeel Robinson. Go listen to.
I'm
that.
gonna have to binge that. I haven't seen any episodes yet.
Yeah, he's on the audio. They're audio only, edited. I believe.
Oh, are they? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I can listen to it in the car.
Yeah. So he talks about all kinds of pop culture stuff. Jaemeel Robinson.
Nice.
So go ahead.
Well,
Go check that out.
Everybody needs more Jaemeel in their life. Let's be honest.
Well, his girlfriend would agree. Well, or maybe she wouldn't. Maybe she'd say
Maybe
no.
she wouldn't. She's like,
Maybe
no,
she'd say, "Get out
he's
of my
mine now.
boyfriend's life. He's mine now.
He's
I'm
mine
clean."
now.
So,
Well, she probably wouldn't agree to do a podcast then.
yeah, maybe. So, Becky with the
All
great
right.
hair, we call her.
Wow. Okay.
For years, anytime somebody said the name Becky, Jaemeel would always go, "Becky with the good hair," and we're like, "I guess." And then he happens to be dating a woman named Becky now, so we just go, "Becky with the good hair," and he goes, "No, Becky with the great hair."
See, I thought you said gray hair, and I thought that was a little mean.
Great.
But you said great. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's better for sure. Anyway, you know what? There's enough gray hair on this panel. I don't think we need to talk about that anymore. Is that it, Dave? Nothing
That's
else
it.
going on? That's it.
That's enough. Survivor's coming back in 4 weeks on
know,
Super
who
Mario
cares about
Brothers.
that?
So yeah,
All
Season
right.
76.
Season
48.
842.6.
48 now.
Yeah. But anyway. All right. Well,
We're 2 away from 50, guys. And it's
And yet I still don't care. Anyway, what can you do? I tried to care, but I didn't. But anyway, what can you do? Anyway, I think it's time to say goodnight.
See you later, alligator.
Long in podcast.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.